Once upon a time, in a world without smartphones and GPS devices, people used to navigate using maps. Yes, you heard it right. Actual paper maps that you had to fold and unfold like origami to find your way around. But one day, two brothers named Lars and Jens Rasmussen decided they were tired of getting lost and thought, hey, wouldn't it be great if we could create a digital map that could tell us exactly where we are and how to get where we're going? At the Where2 Technologies, this software engineer duo developed a web-based mapping tool that used satellite images to provide driving directions, business information, and other location-based services. This became my foundation. Hi, this is Google Maps and I am going to share the story of my origin with you today. You might be thinking, but wait, didn't navigation systems already exist? And you would be right. Let's start at the beginning. The history of navigation dates back to ancient times when sailors used the stars and landmarks to navigate through the seas. Humans have been navigating the world for thousands of years, but it wasn't until the 18th century that the first modern navigation system was invented. It was called the chronometer and it was used by sailors to determine their longitude while at sea. Back then, getting lost was a real problem. You had to rely on your sense of direction, the position of the stars, and a bit of luck to get where you were going. The story of navigation apps begins with the advent of GPS technology. In fact, the first navigation system was developed in the 1960s by the US military and was called Transit. It used a series of satellites to determine the location of a receiver on the ground. But let's be real, who besides the military could afford such fancy technology? And even if you did have access to it, you would still have to lug around a big, clunky receiver. Not exactly convenient for your average Joe trying to find his way to the nearest Starbucks. The first commercial GPS device, the Garmin GPS 100, was launched in 1991, and it allowed people to navigate through unknown places with ease. As for the genesis of navigation apps, the first navigation app was created in 2002 by a Dutch company called TomTom. Their app, TomTom Navigator, was initially designed to be used on personal digital assistants (PDAs) and had limited functionality. Fast forward, things have changed quite a bit. Now, there are dozens of navigation systems out there, and people rely on them every day to get from point A to point B. And while there have been many advances in navigation technology over the years, none have had quite the impact of the internet and, specifically, myself, the Google Maps. So, how did I come to existence? Well, it all started in the early 2000s. The internet was still relatively new, and while there were some mapping services available, they were far from perfect. In fact, many of them were downright terrible. My journey began with the acquisition of a small Australian company called Where2 Technologies, which developed a mapping application for mobile devices. With the help of my new team, we started building a comprehensive map of the world, incorporating data from various sources such as satellite imagery, street views, and user contributions. But my creation wasn't exactly a walk in the park. It took years of research, development, and testing to create the technology that would power my revolutionary navigation system. And let's not forget the countless hours spent mapping out the entire world. At first, I was a bit of a novelty. It was fun to play around with, but it wasn't something that most people used on a regular basis. But over time, that started to change. As smartphones became more popular, people started to rely on Google Maps for everything from finding a new restaurant to navigating their way through a new city. Let me tell you an interesting fact. I was not the first navigation app. MapQuest, founded in 1996, was the first popular digital mapping service. However, I quickly surpassed MapQuest in popularity, thanks to my superior technology and features. I became a game changer in the world of navigation. No longer did you have to rely on paper maps or confusing directions from strangers. Now, you could simply type in your destination and let me do the rest. But I didn't stop there. My creators continued to innovate and improve the technology, adding features like real-time traffic updates, public transportation schedules, and even Street View. Now, you could not only find your way around, but also see exactly what your destination looked like before you even got there. You must be thinking, but how does Google Maps actually work? Well, it's a complex system that relies on a number of different technologies, including satellite imagery, GPS, and artificial intelligence. When you enter a destination, I use all of these tools to calculate the best route for you to take. It takes into account things like traffic, road closures, and even the weather to ensure that you get to your destination as quickly and safely as possible. Did you know that over 1 billion people take my help? That's right, over 1 billion people all around the world use Google Maps to find their way. And that's not all. Every day, people use Google Maps to navigate over 1 billion kilometers of roads. That's enough to go around the Earth 25,000 times. But despite all of these technological advancements, there are still some things that I can't do. For example, I can't tell you which lane to be in when you're driving on a busy highway. I also can't always predict unexpected road closures or detours. And let's not forget that sometimes, the directions can be a bit off. I'm sure you all have had that experience of being led down a dead-end street or being told to turn left when there's clearly no road there. But despite these shortcomings, I have become an indispensable tool for many people. It's hard to imagine navigating your way through the world without me. And who knows what the future holds. Perhaps one day, I will be able to. Complete this sentence in the comments section. Until then, I'll be here, helping people find their way, one turn at a time.